All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lightworkers Secret to Success. My name is Adam Strzkowski, and I'm here with Rebecca, Pamela, and Amanda tonight. Colette, I don't think is going to join us, or she might jump on. No, she's not coming on tonight. She just sent me a message. So just the four of us. And we've got sort of a special, maybe weird topic today. So I'm really hoping that this resonates with you and that we'd love to get some feedback on some things that we've lately uncovered. And if you like this, make sure you like it, like our channel, subscribe to our channel, and also share it with someone else. So Pamela, why don't you lead it away, and we're going to talk about some of these topics.
So we were talking about a lot of the buzzwords right now that you're hearing are about like indigos or rainbow children. Star seeds is another one, and then there was a couple more that I hadn't even heard about, like crystals was one, and diamonds, and also there's what is the other one that we had?
Rainbow, star seeds, crystals, indigos, levels 1 and 2.
And then diamonds is one of the new ones I had not heard of before. So it's all these different because some of them are human, but some of them may not have derived originally from being human. But they all have a purpose here on Earth right now, and some of us are one or more of those, or from one or more parents of those, and they each have their own purpose to be here on Earth and what they're helping with. So I know, like, the first one we talked about was indigos. And when we started doing research on that, the indigos first came onto our planet after World War II.
And why is that?
Well, it seems like some of them actually appeared a little bit before, but the biggest influence of the birth of the indigo ensued after it. And they were here to help kind of bring peace back to the world, help with the vibration. Um, they were really tough for their parents to deal with, though, because they had this whole sense of what's right and wrong, and didn't necessarily conform.
A lot of hippies were indigos.
They had the warrior energy to them, but a lot of people think of warrior as like a soldier, but there's also peaceful warriors, so the ones who have that dignity. And so they came to help the earth change and focus on destroying our old paradigm of leadership and recreating a system that served humanity more effectively, which I think we're starting to see some of that again now.
As you're speaking of that, it just reminds me of silent warriors. Like maybe I was thinking Martin Luther King, those people that really fought for civil rights. Maybe those they were probably born around that time as well, wanting to see a shift, wanting to see the human race more unified.
Yeah, it says they were tended. Their whole purpose was to change. It was like what fit, because it was to change the government, change the legal systems, change, right? Because they're looking at the ability to have everything be fair for everyone. A lot of indigos would be kinetic learners, and they would be people who could multitask really effortlessly. And often they might have gotten bored easily, or they might have been classified as the movers or shakers, the leaders of a time frame.
And also, I think that they're very high vibrational people, so they have high energy. They're always on the go, and they can get a lot of stuff done in a day.
Yeah, and then I know that you guys had discovered through something that you looked to that there's actually multiple levels of indigo. There's actually two different levels. Adam, did you want to discuss what those levels are and why they're different or how they're different?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just kind of learning about this a little bit myself, but there's level 1 and level 2. So a level 2, it just means that you actually have 24 DNA strands. So every human has 12 DNA strands, except for the ones that have gone through reptilian DNA transformation. And they've done that purposely because the reptilians know on how powerful we are. And by taking that one of the strands of DNA out, it really it made them less powerful. So there are most human beings have 12, but they don't know how to activate it, or they're not even aware on how to activate it. Indigo level 2, they actually have 24, so they are very powerful. But level 1 is direct, has a direct path to God, the creative being, whatever you want, creative source, whatever you want to call it. So they, and I'm just getting information as I'm talking here, so just give me a second. The reptilians are the most afraid of us, and we right now are in our in a not a critical time, but a very important time. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these things that are happening, and people are coming out that had been hidden for so long, because this is an important time in history. And whether you know it or not, or whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you've already made the decision by ascending into the fifth dimension. And the Dracos, the reptilians, whatever you want to call them, they've been trying to suppress that for thousands of years, and they've done a pretty good job. Now, if you look back in history, there has been some very famous people that have figured it out. But if you look back at history, some of those people that figured it out, you can see what happened to them, right? So if you look to Salem and the witch burning, well, a lot of them had, tapped into that energy, and so they burned them at the stake. If you look back at, the wizards back in the medieval times, well, there was black magic. If you look at the pirates and all the voodoo magic that they did, well, essentially what that is them just tapping into those higher sources, into the different realms. So Indigo Children have been here for a while, but they've really been activated. And really, after World War II is when things really, really were important, because we were ready to destroy our planet, and they were ready to do it. And they gave us the technology with the nuclear bombs. And just for those of you that aren't aware of this yet, and please test this for yourself, there are no live nuclear weapons at all in the world. The Galactic Federation Council has destroyed them all. They've disabled them all. So, all of a sudden, we heard for many years is that, we should, deactivate and not be nuclear and get rid of the bombs. Well, all of a sudden, you don't hear about it anymore. And if you listen to what generals say, like they said, they thought they're under attack, and they had all these lights around these nuclear weapons, and they just disabled them. There's nothing they can do. They can't launch them. So no one has nuclear weapons at all because of what happened in World War II, and they disabled them all. So there's just nothing. So that's kind of what I know a little bit about Indigo Children. I was listening to someone tonight, Elizabeth April, and she was channeling the Galactic Federation. And one of the things that they were talking about, what should we do if there is a forced vaccination? What should we do if with the disease? And the answer is very simple, is you don't need to do anything. You need to take action, but not the action that you think. Not go out and buy guns and go out in the street and riot and do all this stuff. That's not the action that they're talking about. They're talking about going within and meditating and vibrating. And that will change the course. That will change your timelines. That will jump you timelines when you're able to do that during all this chaos. I know that all of us, I'm pretty sure all of us do this, but we meditate, and we meditate daily. And lately my meditations have gone from an hour to hour and a half to 2 hours. And the vibrations that I'm getting by doing it, I know that things have already shifted. Tomorrow is, today's December 11th, tomorrow's December 12th, so 12/12. The big portal that's opening. December 21st is also another big portal that's opening. So this energy is happening, and it's happening fast. And the good thing is, it doesn't matter where you are right now. All you need to do is think differently, and that'll be there. So if you want to go into a different timeline or a different dimension, and really live life in harmony and peace and prosperity and abundance and all these awesome things, the way that we know that we're meant to be living, right? Not with all this destruction and disease and vaccines and wear a mask and all. If you like that life, then just stay where you are. That's fine. But just know that you have a choice, and the choice is soon closing. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait another 6,000 to 12,000 years before you can change. And just so you know, there is reincarnation. It's a real thing. I mean, once you're able to access your consciousness, you know about your past lives. You can dig into it. You know, we've all heard of the Akashic records. I mean, it's imprinted in us if you know how to access it. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there. Is that?
No.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I think the other thing is, once you're going to talk about the Indigos, and one of the things that they said, because it made me kind of laugh when I was reading some of this, was that they were seen as being disrespectful or combatic, or they see things as they are, and oftenly they're bang on. And it kind of reminds me, because my heart's always telling me, don't confuse the issue with facts. Because I'll make a statement, and it's like, can't people see? You know, because like you said, Alan, test it for yourself, check it out but it's just really interesting that sometimes people they can't see. Mm-hmm. The other one that was, and this was a new one to me, I'd never heard of this one before, was crystal energy children. And they have a softer energy. They're sensitive. They also attempt to become invisible a lot of times. They just know they don't belong in the hospital environment. They're, a lot of times you'll be seeing them as peacemakers. I think when I think about this, Gandhi kind of comes to mind, right? Or Mother Teresa, because, you know, she never wanted to attend an anti-war. She'd attend peace, but don't send me to anti-anything, right? But they have a challenge around deciphering their emotions and thoughts, which ones are theirs. So I think a lot of empaths fall under this, because that's one of the things we talk about people, when Amanda and I are working with people, is, you know, when you're getting all this stuff, go inside yourself and ask yourself, is this my feelings, or am I picking it up from the collective? So that's, you know, was really an interesting thing to me, because they also are, crystal kids a lot of times are ones who ends up being medicated by their parents and their doctors early in their teens, because their feelings are so much painful, and the medication creates a buffer for them from their pain. So I thought that was kind of something I didn't know. Mm-hmm. The other one was rainbow children, and we've all heard of rainbow children before. And these are more recent. I think these started probably maybe 80s, 90s. They have that sense of confidence in themselves and love within themselves. And what was interesting to me is they don't carry any woundedness or karma. So, like when you talk about reincarnation, a lot of times that's you're coming back from another life and you're redoing to heal the karma. And they're saying that rainbow energy children don't have any of that. And that they are here with talents that are just phenomenal. So it makes me think of like the kids who can play piano or play, you know, or really good in mathematics, and, you know, so they have a really high potential. A lot of times they're the kids that are considered geniuses, I guess, or the savants, because they just have all that, and they just have they're able to utilize the universal laws in order to create and manifest stuff.
As you're reading, oh, go ahead, Adam.
No, go ahead. You go.
I was just gonna say, as I'm reading, and you're talking about Indigo Children. The only reason I know some about this information is because it was several years ago. I came across the information about the Indigo Children because I don't remember what it was. I was on a post on Facebook and this gal was saying something about Indigo Children, and everything she said just reminded me of my son. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, can you give me more information about that? And she sent me this ginormous article, but I was like so engulfed in it that I read the whole thing, and it was like everything. It was like my son to a T, every single thing. And like you said, a lot of the kids that are indigos are diagnosed with like ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, all those things that, because they came to really, be kind of rebel rousers and to shake the system and to be in like my son, for instance, I'd say, no, don't do that when he was little, and he would look at me and do it anyway, like defy me, like in my face. Where I had another girl, my oldest daughter, I'd say, no, don't do that. And then, because she was more softer, and then when but she would sneak off and do it. She was more quieter, and so she wouldn't do it in my face. But my son was just like, oh no, I'm going to do it, and you're going to watch me do it, kind of thing. But he was very high vibrational. I had to, and it's funny, as a parent, people say, well, how do you parent? And I'm like, well, I have to parent each of my kids very individually, because something may work with one kid, but it won't work for the other kid. And so as I'm going through this list, I'm like, oh, so let's see, they're, like my sons are indigos. I have a crystal daughter. I have a rainbow daughter. I have the rest of the daughters are starseeds. And then my grandsons, it appears that they're all diamond children. So it's like, oh
yeah. It's just interesting. And one of the things that I thought was interesting in this article is it talks about that a lot of the crystal children are actually born in places that have a lot of negative things going on. A lot of times it can be poverty, political distress within these countries and their environment, and they have a high resilience to that. And they have a tendency to be natural healers, channelers, and they actually hold the seeds, which I thought was really good, interesting. They hold the seeds within themselves to build a new earth that's compromised of peace, collaboration, creativity, and community, which is what we're looking at extending to, right? Is that whole concept of putting the past behind us and moving to that where everybody is fed, everybody is, has.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it was really interesting because I'd never heard of the crystal kids before.
I'll tell you, I've had people as young as 12 years old take my workshop called the Silver Ultramind Training, where they learn how to get down to the alpha level on command to be psychic. And they're amazing because they are so naturally psychic.
Yeah.
When we do the exercises to remote view someone that they've never met, they can describe them. They can tell what their physical health condition is just naturally. And there are amazing children all over the planet. Like in China, they have children that they train that are special. And we've done it in this country too, and they keep it secret. But, they have abilities to heal, remote view. Governments use these children. That's why many times they're taken into special training. And then they wipe their memories. So they can't remember a lot of
Well, they literally pick their brain, right?
Well, they use them. And a lot of times, when you take these tests, when you get into school,
right?
That's one way that they find out if you've got gifts.
And it's so funny. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so against standardized testing. Like I get so mad and so irritated.
Well, we know the whole educational system is corrupted now.
Yeah.
And that's why it's ending. Yeah. Changing, it's transforming. And awakened people are saying, you really should homeschool your kids and not let them get programmed.
But
I agree. Yeah, but if you read Dolores Cannon, she explains a lot about these the first wave, the second wave, the third wave, because the call went out after World War II, when they started setting off these horrible atomic bombs, and that messes up our whole galaxy, basically. So people volunteered to come here that have certain gifts, and they're the Indigos, like you said, are kind of like the rabble rousers. President Trump is the first wave. That's why he just is so direct, and he just cuts to the chase, and people can't handle it, because most people that are asleep can't handle the truth anyway. They want to be lied to. It's like, please don't talk about it. I don't want to hear it. You know, when you try to explain things to them, but it's happening and you can't stop it. I mean, in fact, Jose Silva, who courses I teach, got the download in 1998 that the next phase of human evolution has begun. And we're going to just naturally be psychic and do these things without freaking out over it, like Lightworkers do. We're supposed to be tapping into not just our five senses, but our extra senses and using them.
Well, and one thing with the kids that are coming in now, like my little girls, they're now access consciousness bars facilitators or practitioners. They can actually do. They were practicing them. I was a little nervous. I was like, are they going to be able to pay attention for the whole 8 hours of class? But they did. They did it, and they had their bars ran. They ran bars, like both of them did my bars. It was so cool because one did half of it, and then she got a little like, okay, I'm done. And then the other one came in and finished the rest. So they worked pretty good together. But one of the things we were talking about being psychic, one of the things that, and I don't know, Rebecca, if you told me to do this or if somebody else did, but like getting a deck of cards and having it red and, red and black or whatever. Right. And so we did that, and the kids loved to do it. I'm like, okay, let's see how psychic you are. And then we would play that. And then I would say, okay, close your eyes. And then I would say, like I'm holding up a card, or they would have their eyes open, whatever they wanted, and say like red or black or red or black. And then at the end, I would count up all the right ones. And I'm like, oh, you got this many right, that kind of thing. And they love it. So we'd all take turns doing that. Or I'd say, okay, I'm going to send something to your brain. So you tell me what it is. Right. And we would just practice doing that too. So, I mean, they love it.
Yeah. Right. And those are good things to practice because they hone your abilities. And, there's so many exercises you can do to make yourself a better visualizer, because being able to visualize is one of the keys to manifesting. Closing your eyes and imagining what your room looks like in detail that you're sitting in with your eyes closed. Another thing I used to do at night, and this really triggered something in my psychic powers, I would take a different flower every night when I get into bed, and I would just see a black background, and I might see a rose, and I would look at the petals and the stamen and the stem and the thorns, and I would really get into creating it in my imagination as vividly as I could. And I would pick a different flower every night. Well, after about a month, I would just close my eyes, and it was like watching a TV screen, different scene. And I'd go, where are these people and places coming from? But it will open you up to other dimensions, not in a negative way, but you just become more and more tuned in. Yeah.
Nice. Another thing you can do with your kids, because we do it with theta healing, when we practice to increase our intuitiveness, you can buy the colored flashcards that have all the colors, the basics, 8 red, and do the same thing with that, where they pick what's the color of the card that you're holding.
Nice. I like
and
that.
Also that gives them more than just the black and the red. The other thing, it's like, we're showing, like Rebecca is like, there's just so much that people, they have the ability, right? And like we were talking about the star seeds, and a lot of the star seeds are in that flight or fight mode because of the energy. And the star seeds are the ones who actually have come from the galactic family. So they're far more advanced. And so like when you're talking about the kids who took your workshop and could immediately get to that part, they have that they carry that wisdom that's more than what we have. And because it's like a lot of us, when we come into this life, we go through this veil of forgetfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So we forget. It's kind of like Adam says, we already made the decision to be here. Now we just have to remember why we made the decision,
Mm-hmm.
because we've come through that veil of forgetfulness. And with the star seeds,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have to go through that. So a lot of their knowledge, that ingrained knowledge they have, is because they didn't go through this forgetfulness,
Mm.
which is, really awesome.
Well, many children can remember lives on other planets. There's a little
Mhm.
Russian boy who perfectly describes being an astronaut flying around the universe, and he lived on Mars. My friend Avery, when she was young, sometimes I'd be with her in the evening, kind of babysitting her, and she would literally go into a trance and talk about her life on Mars and how it blew up. And that's why many of them are here on planet Earth.
Mm.
And many people have said that there was some kind of an atomic explosion that appears on planet Mars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the scientists I've heard them talk about it. So they can remember things that,
Yeah.
and then as they get older, many times they'll go, really, did I say that?
Yeah.
It kind of fades away, but
I-
it's never really gone.
Well, I
I
ask
have a
my
f-
little girls stuff all the time, like little things when they're real little, like toddlers. And one time I asked Amaya, I said, Amaya, I said, why did you even come to Earth? Why did you sign up to come here? And she goes,
Mm.
Mommy, to love you. And I said, oh, well, thank you. I needed that.
Well, and that's one thing they talk about starseeds, is they actually came into the Earth's existence in order to affect and guide the mass consciousness towards service and upliftment,
Mhm.
right? To bring in that thing. I've got a friend, you're talking about your friend, Rick. I've got a friend who actually has a past memory of being a mermaid. And she has a guilt because evidently she was a leader and she led her tribe off a cliff without realizing that so she had that guilt, so we had to work through that. But yeah, so there's all these different, forms of beings and stuff that people have come through and not always know
Well, the
where
other
they're at.
well, the other thing with that, I mean, there's some movies that depict our potential as human beings. So, one that really comes to mind is, obviously the Matrix series, but also Star Wars,
Oh, yeah.
when Jedi's, right? So they actually are telling you what is true for human beings to be like a Jedi, to do those types of things. But there's also other movies like all the Marvel comics, all of those special things that those people have. Those are real things. Those aren't just made up in someone's imagination. Those are real things that you have the ability, if you really wanted to be able to tap into that and actually use that. So all of these things are here for us to use, and we have the ability. We just have to, you have to figure out the technique on how to do it. And by the way, it's just not close your eyes and think that I want to do it and it's going to happen. It's not the way that it works. You need to master it. You need to really get into that vibrational feeling, and you need to master that technique before it starts happening over and over and over again. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to do something, and I'm looking at the how, but I now know how to do it. What I really need to understand is the technique on to do it, not the how anymore, because I understand the how through meditation and being patient and really focusing in on it. Now it's the technique on how to make that actually happen. Okay.
Well, there's a famous movie director who tried to get meditation in the schools in America, because I think it was Maharaji Mahesh Yogi who taught transcendental meditation, and awakened beings know. You've said it, Adam. If a whole generation of young people learned to meditate, the whole generation of them, it would change the world.
Instantaneously.
Yeah. Didn't they just have like 1 million children in Taiwan or somewhere all meditate at the same time?
Yeah, it was Tibet. Yeah.
And something amazing happened.
For an hour, and the Schumann resonance scale was off the charts. They'd never seen it that high before. So, like, for those of you that, doom and gloom and, COVID-19 and masks and vaccines and I'm losing my
Fear. You got to get rid of the fear.
honestly, just drop it, because there's a world that is starting to be formed, and you have the ability, if you really want, to be part of it. But you have to want it, and you have to meditate on it, and you have to change your vibration if you want that.
Well, isn't talking about this virus, it's so interesting to me that there's a huge group of people that live in fear. I went out today and nobody's out there, or they all, the mask thing. But there's also a very huge group of doctors, medical people around the world that take an opposite approach. Don't live in fear.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, I'm one of them, for sure.
Use your common sense and you'll be okay. Just like you always have been throughout everything. There's always something.
Exactly.
But, to be so radical in our approach to how we are reacting right now to people is pretty strange, pretty unusual.
Yeah.
Mm.
Pamela, did we talk about diamonds yet?
No, that's the next one. And it says diamond children are like walking healers. So that'd be like the one that where Rebecca mentioned earlier, where they can just go in and do remote healing. Or there's been stories even of a child going through a hospital and just touching the different people, and they were, miraculously healed.
Mm.
It says that diamond children are actually 4th generation star children. And so some of them this is the first time here on this earth. And if they're adult the adult star seeds, so the ones who are star seeds, they're adult, had to evolve in order to give birth to diamond children.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting, because the parents themselves had to evolve, right? And the diamond children possess the most advanced psychic skills. They can communicate telepathically. This one reminds me of, have you guys ever seen, there's 2 movies, Escape to and Escape from Witch Mountain? And it had the 2 kids who could psychically talk to each other.
Mm.
I was also thinking of The Green Mile with Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm. That's another good one.
With that big black guy, and when he would touch someone and he could remove whatever it is that they had wrong with them.
Right. Yeah, that was another really good movie.
So there was a fellow explaining why some people are like that. He was saying he's talked to an awful lot of people that have crossed over. He's able to communicate. And he was saying, when we're born into this earth plane, we come with not our whole soul activated in us. Most of us are just 25%, but some people are more, like they might be 50%, and the rest stays at home in the spiritual realm. Well, we're here operating on planet Earth. We can always tap into it, but the ones that can just touch people and heal them instantaneously, or, make a flower blossom from a bud with their energy, they have more of their soul energy flowing through them, but when you meditate, of course, you activate that. And I think with this event that's coming up on the 21st, maybe we'll all be able to do it. Who knows?
I thought it was really interesting with the diamond, because it talks about how they have that concept of the oneness, when we've talked about the one, right? And that they resonate with that divine, pure, unconditional love, and at the highest frequency. And they actually hold the DNA patterning, so they can awaken other people's DNA who are near them, who are ready to overcome the illusion. So like the red pill, the green pill type thing, right? They have the ability to awaken. And a lot of these people, earlier you were talking about some of the kids being autistic. A lot of the diamond children are actually autistic avatars, and they are able to help and assist people in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's their vibration. I mean, there are some beings that are born on planet Earth that really don't have to do anything except emanate whatever their vibration is, and walk around and people pick up on it. And Dolores Cannon talked about that. It's not like they really have to do anything. They don't have to have big careers or,
right,
figure out some major undertaking that they want to do. It's just their being here. And like you were saying before, they're probably born into these places that are in a lot of trouble because they're raising the vibration of those places. I'm convinced light workers are scattered all over the planet, really for that reason, you know. And
Right.
it's interesting because we all connect on Zoom now. We don't live in communes like they did in the 60s. You know, they had the hippie communes, and the gurus would start communes. But, you know, then they'd fall apart because humans are humans.
The one thing I found that was interesting is that it said that the Earth's frequency has to elevate in order to accommodate a significant mass of incarnating of the diamond people. And if we talk, like Adam, you mentioned earlier, the Schumann resonance and how it went off the charts, and it's been doing that a lot lately. It's been going really a lot higher than you would normally see. And so it's like this is happening, right? The Earth is raising its vibration because we need to have that energy and to have the ability to have more of that energy and these different beings on the planet to help raise that energy. So I think it's one of those, it's like a symbiotic, you know, the Earth's vibration has to raise, but then they're also here to help the Earth's vibrations raise. So it's kind of it's working together.
Well, there are no mistakes.
Mhm.
Everything's unfolding as it should. So it's an interesting journey.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Well, I hope you know, you liked this, and if you did, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to keep doing more and more and more of this. We try to keep it short, half hour to 45 minutes, so you don't have to, you know, spend forever. And if you're like me, listen to it on double speed, and it's even faster. So I kind of I enjoy listening to it that way because I can get more information that way. But so hopefully you did like and subscribe, leave a comment for us. If you got any comments or questions or anything, we're here to help. So just reach out and we'll talk to everyone later. And remember 12/12 big portal. Jen McCarty is doing a big live meditation. I can't remember when it starts, but I know it starts
9:09 UK time, I believe.
PM, and that's 4 o'clock, I think, Eastern time.
So 1 o'clock my time.
I think 1 o'clock.
I think that's the time.
Okay.
But I signed up for it, so I'm
And
gonna be.
if you want information or you want to be part of that, just reach out and we'll get you the info.